More than a quarter of adults are struggling with their mental health because of the continuing cost of living crisis. The number rises significantly in specific ages, with 70% of 18 to 24-year-olds saying that their mental health has deteriorated, with the climb in prices according to new data. To tell me more is mental health activist Stephen Manderson, also known as Professor Green, and Jessica Taplin, who's the CEO of British Gas Energy Trust. Good to have you both here.
Thank
Hello.
you. Hi.
So Jessica, what else has the study found?
So it's found that over 50% of people are worried that their inability to pay their energy bills and the challenges that they're facing through that is adversely affecting their mental health, which is quite understandable. It puts a lot of pressure on households.
It does indeed. And I think the scary thing, with the age groups that you mentioned, 70% of 18 to 24-year-olds and 52% of 25 to 34-year-olds, those are age groups where you should really be moving on in life and creating a more stable future for yourself, where you're trying to build a future in the beginning of your career, working out what you want to do. And the scary thing is that, fear and panic are both paralyzing. The stress, the impact of this, the knock-on effect that this is having, not just in people's lives now, but in people's lives going forwards. This is something that really needs to be tackled. And that's why I think it's great that the British Gas Post Office pop-ups and British Gas Energy Trust exist to support people through fuel poverty with any problems that they might be having in the areas, by way of research, which they know to be suffering the most and most desperate at the moment.
And Jessica, just talk more about the support that's been offered.
Yeah, so the British Gas Energy Trust, we're an independent, separate charity, but solely funded by British Gas. We work in two ways. We fund 45 money and energy advice charities nationally, including, funnily enough, Navigate and Mind in Somerset, to provide support for their local areas. Through the British Gas Post Office pop-ups, we are funding another 11 organisations to make sure that there's outreach and that money and energy advice can be in the heart of communities, so that money and energy advisors from these charities can be in the post offices to talk to people as they come in about the challenges that they're facing.
And Stephen, you're part of an organisation that promotes online therapy, and you've talked before about your own mental health growing up. So as we're approaching World Mental Health Day, what would you say are kind of the important things that we need to be looking at, especially with this topic?
Yeah, I think primarily it's about people accessing support that exists. Some people may not know there is any support out there, may not be in a situation where they themselves feel like looking for anything because of how paralyzing the stress is. You can imagine, right, looking at your numbers, reducing every cost you possibly can and still not having any left. In fact, in some instances being in the minus, still looking at a negative sum and not understanding how you can possibly move forwards and progress in a situation. It's incredibly debilitating, as are most mental health issues. So the important thing is to access support, whether that's support with your bills, benefit eligibility, or whether it is mental health support that you need primarily by services such as Mind, such as Calm, such as the Samaritans. It's just really important to talk and to have a really safe, unbiased place to have a conversation, which is why it's great that the British Gas Post Office pop-ups exist, people being able to go into what is already a hub of their community by way of a post office and to be offered a private space to speak to a money and energy advisor, courtesy of British Gas Energy Trust, but from a local charity. Mm-hmm. So the great thing about this initiative is that the British Gas Energy Trust work by way of supporting local charities that already exist in these communities, who already understand the specificities of specific needs of the community that they operate for and in, and already having relationships with people in the community, and so therefore there being a level of trust that there may not be otherwise.
I think also sometimes it's hard just on a wider level to accept that we're struggling in life, and there's a tendency to try and cope on our own, and in that respect sometimes things get worse. So it's really acknowledging as soon as you can that you may be in difficulty.
Oh, I think that's so right. And you have to remember that so many households at the moment are facing all of these competing pressures, and you can sometimes feel very isolated about it. But there is help that's out there, even if you're looking, as Stephen said, at a negative budget. Money and energy advisors can look at things like income maximisation. They can look at advocacy with your debts. They can look at mental health support. But really, you've got someone by your side to stand with you.
Yeah, and to untangle everything, because sometimes it becomes so colossal, doesn't it? And as you say, Jessica, when you've got so many things competing for attention and for money, it's really difficult to understand how to best put a foot forward. And when you have someone there who is in a much calmer state than you perhaps are, and able to look at things, in a very pragmatic from a very pragmatic stance as opposed to an emotional one. It's easier for them to assess things and to help get things in order and help you move forwards.
And Stephen, I mean, what are the things that you do to keep yourself in good mental health? Again, I'm thinking, for us at the moment, there's so much going on. Are there particular things that you find helpful?
There are, yeah. Some of them seem quite extreme to people. I'm pretty shy to warm or to hot or even warm water. I like cold showers, and beyond that, ice baths. It sounds ridiculous, but honestly, the level of calm that gives me, and it gets me out of my head for a little while and creates a focus, which is not something I wake up with every day. Beyond that, it's really simple things. I love walking my dog, looking after my son, and just trying to, movement's important, but when when everything feels a bit much and you do want to just bury your head in the sand, it's all the important things that kind of go by the wayside. You forget to eat well, or perhaps eating well is a problem because of the money that you have or don't have. Movement is incredibly important. We're not sedentary beings. We're not designed to be sedentary. We used to be hunter-gatherers, and we've not evolved beyond that. Society has, but chairs are not very good for us, believe it or not. It's very, very important to get the heart rate up and get the lungs working. All of that contributes to but they're all the things that go by the wayside as soon as you do suffer any mental difficulty, or they are for me. So it's really difficult to keep those things up sometimes, but I try.
And being creative, music, I guess, is a big outlet for you as well.
It is. I didn't realize that journaling, which is just the art of writing something down, writing down whatever you think, feel, or observe at any given time, is a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy, which, by way of writing music, because I write music about what I think, feel, or observe, is something that I've been doing since I was 18. And admittedly, I've not been writing as much music since having a kid. That's pretty...
Yeah, how is that going? I mean, you are a new father, aren't you?
I am, yeah. He's 2.5 now, and I don't know where that time's gone. But he's moving very, very quickly. He's a brilliantly bright child, and nothing else will ever compare to that, will it?
And Jessica, where can we find out more about what we've been talking about today?
We would just really encourage you to go to the website britishgasenergytrust.org.uk to find money and energy advice near you. Also, if you have energy debt as you're going into this winter, we do have open funds at the moment which are for British Gas and non-British Gas customers. So please just have a look. You're not alone. Seek help.
Thanks so much. That's mental health activist Stephen Manderson, also known as Professor Green, and Jessica Taplin, who's the CEO of the British Gas Energy Trust.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.